But I quickly want to close on what you said before, because I think that's a really good point. You said the other stresses in your life can be so high that it actually prevents you from going to that place and actually being comfortable in that place. And I've experienced that myself, where like I've had like airdyne sprints to do, and I'm so like emptying the tank on this bike, just like rocking back and forth and trying to just empty myself, that afterwards I get sick. Like legit, after the session, I have a chest cold, I get a sore throat, and it's because my body just can't cope with the level of output, because I'm not ticking the boxes in other areas of my life. And I think that's such a key point, that people start to, well, if you're unexperienced, or if you don't know until you know, in the gym, but you have to almost safeguard yourself. And I think Killian Hamilton put it in a post last week. I love the way the guy talks. He's so eloquent when he starts putting words together. And he said like something along the lines of, you're trying to trade in a currency that you can't really afford, because you're pushing your body, but you haven't built up the reservoir of equity, or whatever, however he put it. But it was so true, because you can go there, but you have to have done the prerequisite work to have this spendable commodity. Otherwise, it's going to come out in the wash in a bad experience. But yeah, it's training. And training is definitely about that. You have to go there.
Yeah. I think that's, for me now, my training is a little bit more intuitive these days than it has been in the past, where I've been way more rigid and like it has to be a specific way. Whereas now I go in and I will actually like feel how I will tune in with myself and how I feel in my stress in my life, and then I will decide there and then, whether I'm going to go to failure today or whether I need to keep it in the tank. Because if I go to failure today, it just might mean that I'll be wiped out energetically for the next 2 days, meaning that also then my work will suffer, which I'm not willing to deprioritize right now. So it's really about like checking in with yourself, really, like, okay, am I ticking off the boxes, like Uma said, like, am I actually fueling myself properly? Am I hydrated? Am I sleeping enough? Am I doing my stretching or whatever? And then if you keep those constant, then you should be able to go in and train pretty hard, pretty consistently. But if you're not, like I have a tendency to go intermittent self-care a lot, and then every now and then I fall off because I start to prioritize work so much more. But then I see that everything else starts to suffer, so I just have to bring in my self-care routines again, and I should really making sure that I'm more rigid about what I do in terms of recovery, so that I can come back and do more. So yeah.
I agree for sure. I think starting something new. Sorry, go on, G.
No, go for it, man.
Yeah, starting something new, like when I started jiu-jitsu, it's such a whirlwind, right? It's such a whirlwind of like everything hurts. I remember talking to Bilal. My cousin came on the podcast a few episodes ago, and he was chatting to me about like just feeling his body just broken, and I can totally kind of resonate with that. Obviously, rolling with Silvio and rolling with all the guys there, right? You just feel absolutely battered, but then you have to realize that you're starting to explore these other things, but you're not stepping up your game in other areas, and it's like one for all and all for one, right? You can't leave this part of your life in a B grade if you want to play an A grade sport, and it just comes back to bite you in the ass if you don't focus on it, because you end up cutting your longevity down, and then in turn you end up cutting your skill level down, and then you try and make up for it the next time you go in, and you end up banging your head against the wall because you have to just spend your time there. You can't spend your time there because you didn't do the work over here.
Isn't the worst thing then what happens is that all of a sudden you start questioning whether you actually enjoy it in the first place, right? Yes. That's really when that's when I know, even for work, because I love working, but if I work too much, all of a sudden I get this thing like, I'm a bit, I'm not looking forward to wake up and do check-ins tomorrow, and I'm not looking forward to all of these things. I'm like, okay, I know that I'm probably working too much, and now I need to actually rev up the other stuff so that it becomes a bit more balanced. So yeah, that's for me one of the bigger cues. When I stop enjoying the things that I know I love, that's when I need to like look into everything else, because something is off a little bit.